Hello, everybody.
Hey.
And welcome back to the Black Sister Sekai podcast.
Hello.
Today is a brand new day.
Yeah.
It's sunny in our apartment.
Yeah.
If you're watching, I'm sure you can tell.
Mm-hmm.
Today we're going to talk about a topic? No. We're going to talk about a topic that Neema and I actually discuss a lot.
Mm-hmm.
We talk about it a lot, and we thought, you know what? We need to do a podcast episode about it because it's kind of a big deal.
It is.
Neema, would you like to bring up today's subject?
The topic of today is about part-time jobs in Japan. And as we speak, within literally a half hour, I have to be at work.
She's about to bounce, go off to work, get that bread.
Exactly.
Would you like to talk about where you work, my dear?
So I currently work at an Eikawa school. So basically Eikawa, for those who don't know, is just kind of like this style of, I guess, like, I've never seen it anywhere else, to be honest with you. It's like specifically Eikawa, if you can bring it up, A is like the kanji for like
English.
Eigo, like English, and then Kaiwa is like conversation. So the whole point is to kind of get the kids to speak in English, and so it's less focused on like writing like, you know, an essay, and more so like on activities and be like, repeat after me, or like, you know, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And my school's kind of quirky. She's kind of a fun one. She uses STEM. So STEM is kind of like this like whole education system thingy that I won't get into.
I feel like it's all kind of the same though, isn't it?
It is probably, but they just kind of tweak it and word it differently.
And they give it different names, but they're all kind of the same. They all think they're quirky, but they
all
the same.
do. Yeah, they love that. Yeah, but basically STEM stands for like science, technology, engineering, and math. So
wow, that's
we do like a whole, like every week is a new STEM. Well, that's for depending on the age group, but typically that's what that is. It's like your education and English.
Oh, so they're really trying to like teach the kids things.
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay. Because for me, I was like,
no,
for us, they were not trying to teach the kids nothing.
Really? What'd you do?
I did an English teaching school that was kind of the same concept, like Eikawa for kids, whatever. But like, it was not trying to teach the kids nothing. It was like, okay, kids, let's have a good time playing and learning English. Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, they were not trying to teach the kids nothing. They were just like trying to make them have a good time while using the English words. So like their goal wasn't even really to get the kids to like speak. Well, no, they didn't want the kids to speak, but they wouldn't really care so much about like full on conversation. They just were like, if the kids can say 5 English words by the end of class, that's a success.
That's a success for us.
Yeah,
interesting.
Yeah,
that's
so there was no like trying to teach them science and technology. Like
really?
No, none of that.
Yeah, I find it really weird because it's on top of being quirky with STEM, they're also like really quirky with like, we don't force anyone to speak English.
Oh yeah,
and I'm like, I get that, but at the same time, I feel like in my experience of language learning, it's been to like, just try.
Right.
You can say this. You can say, can I have scissors, please?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, the school where I worked was like that too. They were like super pushy about like, if the kid is off in the corner, like playing with blocks and everyone else is doing stuff, like
leave them.
Yeah, don't say like, you know, and I was just like, okay. Like, I don't really know how you want us to like teach them anything if you also don't want us to like be able to like use some level of discipline. And I'm not talking about like spank them in the corner, you know, like use the ruler to be like bad children, but like at least be like, okay, let's put down the blocks now. Yeah, sit at the table.
Exactly. Like there's a bigger, like a funner activity that's coming around better than your blocks.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
But they're like, no, just leave them be, and then, you know, we'll figure it out as we go. And I'm
so
just like,
weird.
I don't.
But honestly, I think that like extreme comes from like, I've heard that a lot of kids in Japanese, like being in Japanese schools is like really strict with the uniforms and like all the rules. And, you know, if you impose all these rules about hair length and like, you know, your skirt length and then your socks need to be on a 5-year-old, of course they're going to want to just be somewhere to be free.
True.
And so that's when they're like, Sensei, eigo tanoshii. Because like they can be themselves and they can run around and they can kick things. Like literally, there's one kid, I kid you not, last week, he walked in, his sweet little boy, he's 4 years old, walked in and started walking. He took the chair, moved it, and started walking on tables, just hopping from table to table. And I was like, no, you shouldn't do that. You should get down. And the teacher's like, don't worry, he always does that. It's okay. He can do it. It's the way that he just like has fun and expresses himself. I'm like,
my goodness, these kids.
I'm not really for that.
Yeah, it's weird that they just let them. I'm like, if this was Canada, like, yeah, we can have a good time. But the teachers would not stand for that, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But they do, like you said, I think like when the kids go back home being like, eigo tanoshii, like English is so fun. The parents are like, great, we're going to dish out another $100 for you to stay in that school for the next couple of weeks or whatever the case is. But like, I think that they know that's the technique. That's why they're like, don't discipline them too much. Just let them have fun.
Yeah. And they also do try to give them like the Kaigai no experience, like the abroad experience at school. Like like for Easter we did like an Easter egg hunt, and these kids had no clue what the heck that was.
Yeah, because Easter is not a part of Japanese culture.
It's not. Yeah. So there, I was like trying to explain to them like, you're picking up the eggs.
They're like, sensei, tamako nande?
Yeah, exactly.
Tamako de asobu no?
Exactly.
They're like, they don't get the concept of like the eggs and but also I get that, because it's kind of the same thing as how in Japan people don't really get the concept of Christmas. Some people don't.
True.
Like to them Christmas is
fried chicken.
Yeah, fried chicken.
We're your lover.
They're like, who Jesus? I ain't never heard no Jesus. Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna go on a date with my girlfriend for Christmas. It's gonna be a great time.
Who Jesus?
Who Jesus? I ain't never heard of him. And guess what? That's like a real, like, if you think about it, it's like, oh, that makes sense, because it's like if you watch Christmas movies and listen to Christmas songs, it's all like love songs, right?
Yeah, true.
They make it like all like love related. So it's just like, Japanese people were like, okay, hi, wakatta. クリスマスイコールラブですね。
そうです。
了解です。I feel like it's one of those weird things where we don't really give it much thought, you know?
We don't.
But then when we realize like, oh, there's other people out there who really don't get it.
Yeah.
Like, I wonder why.
Yep. It's all because of us. Exactly. But honestly, I do think that every foreigner goes through, at least, even if you're not a native English speaker, goes through a phase of teaching English as a part-time job. Like, it's just a thing, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, but there is that privilege though of like, if you come from a white European country, white European English speaking country more specifically, you do have an advantage, of and course. Your salary is higher. You do get the main teacher job, whereas the others would get the assistant teacher job. Right. And I'm black, and you best believe I'd be thinking twice, thinking thrice, because like if it wasn't for me having my Canadian citizenship, I would just be some African person with broken English, and therefore could not be the main teacher and have to be the
Which
assistant.
Is ridiculous when you think about how the English schools are technically supposed to expose the kids to like different accents, different people, different whatever. Yeah. And then they're like, no, only white European teachers for that main role, and then everyone else is just really side gig part-time teacher.
I don't like it personally.
Yeah, I don't like it either, and I think it's sad. And I've had those moments too where like it's not to say too that like non-native speakers are not good teachers or whatever, because I've met tons of people, who I used to teach with when I was doing English teaching, who were not necessarily native English speakers, but spoke English still fluently, and were like, they were the main teacher, and I was kind of assisting them, and I was like, they make great, like they're better teachers than some of the fluent people.
For sure, 100%.
And so like, I think it's a great thing that there are some schools out there that give those people an opportunity, but sometimes I'm like, damn, some of y'all really just want you a white teacher from the UK.
Yeah, 100%.
And that's all you care about.
I really did notice that. And honestly, like, I can't get into the details, but I really did notice, like, specifically white blonde men from European English speaking countries. They have a chip on their shoulder when it comes to this English teaching. They're like, yes, I'm the teacher. Yes. I'm just like, I've met two so far. And I'm just like, are you okay? No, they really take it as like a badge of honor. And but to flip it on its head, I do feel like also, I was thinking about this, I was going in deep, I feel like Eikawa schools are just like English teaching schools for any foreign like teacher person is the only place where you feel like you can dominate, like you can own your identity as like a foreign English speaker in this country. And Japanese people are like, thank you so much. Other than that, it's like, do you understand? これわかりますか? 日本語わかりますか? It's like, hi, わかります. They're like, I don't think you know.
That's a good point. I never really thought of it that way, but it's true. I think that's why, like, when I think back to all the, like, what do you call part-time jobs that I've done in the past and whatever, like, English teaching was the one that I did for the longest amount of time. Maybe other than modeling. Like, modeling, obviously, I'm doing still even now, but, like, English teaching was just so easy for me when I was like, like a fresh new student in Japan, and like you said, it's one of those things where it's like you can just own being a foreigner. You have all your other coworkers are foreigners too, so you don't feel like you're like you're like in this weird place, and like you can also like you feel like you can own this job because you feel like you're professional at it. It's just speaking your native language. That's it. Whereas if you worked at like a bakery or a coffee shop or like a konbini, whatever, like those places you have to learn how to do those skills. You need to learn how to interact with other Japanese coworkers. You probably can only speak English maybe once or twice if like a foreign customer comes in.
Right. That's at most. In a blue moon.
Yeah, in a blue moon, exactly. And then it's like, okay, well, who am I? What am I doing here? Like, you're always going to have like the foreigner tag, Whereas when you're amongst all other foreigners, like you're just having a good time.
It's a chill time.
Yeah. And I realized that like people who come here and do those jobs for years and years on end, like I feel like amongst gaijin who live here, like the foreigners who live here, like to like look down on people with English teaching jobs. But I'm like, I get it. Like, it's the one place where
easy money.
It is, and it's a place where you can feel comfortable. I know there's some people who do English teaching in like Japanese schools or whatever, so like they do work with Japanese like coworkers and stuff. But even then, like the way that like I don't know.
They treat them?
Yes. Oh, it depends. It's not everyone. Like, I know there's some schools that don't treat the English teachers great. Oops. But, like, I know for the most part, like, the job itself makes you feel good about yourself because you don't feel like you have to prove yourself as anything. They just kind of are like, oh, yeah, you're just a native English speaker, so you're already qualified for the job. That's it, you know? So, yeah, like, if you're thinking of coming to Japan and become an English teacher, I mean, I think it's a good idea.
Yeah.
But I also think, like, don't, like, be careful because you might get caught up in it, basically.
True.
You know what I mean?
True. That is true.
These people come in, they're like, I'm just going to do English teaching for a few years, and then when I'll get on my feet, I'll do what I really meant to come here for. But then they just get stuck in it because...
it's so comfortable.
It is.
And you get stuck in this place where you don't have to learn Japanese. Everyone understands you because they're also foreigners.
Yeah.
Or you're at a school where they just cater to you. You're like, we know that you can't meet XYZ requirements, so...
Right.
Just stay where you are.
Or the people who
they
never end up learning Japanese too, because they're not really forced to.
Exactly.
And then they end up getting stuck there because they're just like, okay, well, the pay is good and it's a job that I can do, and like, you know, I feel comfortable doing this. And then they never get pushed to speak Japanese because their coworkers never speak to them in Japanese. And then maybe they go home and study Japanese by themselves with their textbooks, but then it's like,
it's just so hard to kind of break that
cycle. That barrier, you know. We met somebody. Do you remember?
I remember. Yeah, I'm thinking of that person.
But there's people who get stuck in it. That's like the main thing, you know. And I'm just like, damn, like this can happen. You know what I'm saying?
It's true.
But the thing is, like when I think back to it, when I was teaching English, I remember specifically that, like I said, I did it for 2 years, literally 2 whole years of just English teaching nonstop. I was doing like,
how many days a week did you do?
I think I did like 2 to 3 days sometimes.
So
when I was in language school, I did, I think, like Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and then Saturdays or something like that. And then when I got to Bunka, it was like getting a bit much because I couldn't do 3 days.
Right.
Like I had to be in school like 9 to 5 every single day. So I started cutting it down to, I think, like just Saturdays. And then it went down to the point of being like, okay, well, I think it ended up being like half Saturdays because I was like overwhelmed with schoolwork. I couldn't even do like full Saturdays. So it got to that point where it was just like, okay, well, now I have to really reconsider whether or not this is like worth it. And I started realizing again that I had gotten to that comfort zone, like that place where it's just kind of like, you know, you're not really moving, you're stagnant, you're just making money, and you're not being pushed in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
And I remember this was the point where obviously I had joined Bunka, so I was like, okay, well, this is really what I came to Japan to do. You know, I didn't come to Japan to become an English teacher. Like, I came to Japan to learn about fashion. This is what I want to do. So I kind of had this epiphany that I was like, okay, you know what? I need to quit English teaching. I'm only doing it like half a Saturday at this point. I got to that point where it was like, okay, only come in the afternoons because I was just so overwhelmed with schoolwork. I couldn't keep up. Right. And so, I ended up deciding, you know what? Okay, I'm just going to quit. I'm just going to resign and I'm going to look for like a fashion related job. And this was the point where I was doing internships, like fashion related internships with, through my friend, like, you know, like my friend's, connections and stuff like that. So when I did this internship, I got offered a job to work at a clothing store, and I was like, okay, I need to bite the bullet, quit this English teaching job and do this fashion job instead. And I'm glad I did, because I know there's tons of people who would never push themselves to that. Like,
but even edge. I realize that's pretty extreme. Like some people like some people see no issue with like staying at the same job their whole like their same like baito the whole time that they're studying or they're whatever. And I think that it's very like it shows that you're very, what's the word? Looking for new challenges, I guess. Because the fact that you were just like, okay, Eikawa's not. But I mean, then again, your shifts did go down, like the hours that you were working. So
yeah, because I asked for that.
Oh.
Yeah, like I was just like, I'm too busy with school. I can't. Like I used to be able to work Tuesdays, Wednesdays. Now I can't because, you know, when I was in Japanese language school, I was only in school from 9 to 12. So on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, I could come in from like 2 p.m., stay there until like maybe 6 or 7 or whatever, you know, like do a 5-hour shift or whatever. I could do that twice a week, you know, Wednesday, Thursday. And then Saturday I could work full days, like 9 to like, I don't know, 8 or whatever, you know?
That's a long time.
Oh yeah, I was like, okay, no, not 9 to 8. No, I would do like 9 to like 3 or 4. Okay. Yeah, not 9 to 8. Okay. But you know what I mean? Like that kind of shift, like, or those kinds of shifts where it's like several days a week and stuff, I couldn't do that anymore. Yeah. I was literally at Bunka every single day. Yeah. And I think Bunka, they give you a day off on Wednesday, or they give you like a half day on Wednesdays. So, you know, technically I could on those days work, but I didn't want to. I had schoolwork to do. I stayed at school to like get those assignments done. Yeah. So that was kind of a wake up call for me. And I was like, okay, well, I don't have the time to do this anymore, and I need to do something that's more related to what I came here to do. So let's try something new. And then that other job, the clothing store, that's like a whole other can of worms. Like I want us to do a whole episode where we talk about that, because that was like,
I feel like that would be kind of funny. You have some funny stories.
I do have some funny stories. The people in Harajuku are interesting
creatures.
Very interesting indeed.
Yeah.
So yeah,
but how did you find that job?
Which one?
Your Eikawa one.
Oh, a Craigslist, sis. Oh yeah, okay. Craigslist. Yeah. Let me tell you. In Japan, I know, like, okay, when we talk about Craigslist, I feel like a lot of people think it's like sketch and like, oh, creepy, like what the heck, Craigslist. But like in Japan, Craigslist is like
how to reach gaijins.
Yeah.
Ironically.
Literally, I kid you not. It's exactly that. It's like just because only foreigners know about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's just like a place where, of course, there's. Believe me, I mean, I'm not saying that like Craigslist is like, you know, just a place full of angels and good people, but like, you know,
I've seen some sugar daddy type
sugar baby, sugar daddy
like,
ads.
Looking for a sugar baby,
looking for a companion for money.
Yep. Only serious inquiries only.
Yeah.
Well, I literally said only twice, but anyways,
but yeah, no, it is messy there for sure. But like, yeah, no, they have a few like English teaching gigs that are up there on Craigslist, and this was one of them. Yeah. And I found it, and I was like, sus, but hey, I'll just email them and see how it goes. I was sus
about it too, and then you were like, no, it's fully working. Like that's how I got both jobs.
Is it really?
Yeah, both jobs.
Oh, it was Craigslist.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
So by the way, if you guys didn't know, I also did babysitting, and I recently had to like end that.
Yeah.
Because again, it's kind of like what Sena was talking about. It was the first ever job that I got coming here. Right. And I remember I was so like, oh my gosh, like Japanese, you know, just really in my head about like speaking Japanese, because like I had only just arrived, and like I was like N5, N4 level, but like it was just like not enough, you know?
Right.
So anyway, so then I did that. It was great. I found a family that like I love dearly. Like their kids are just, I love them so much. I ended up babysitting them basically like for the whole time, because do we want to unpack this? I'm just gonna summarize it. Make her brief. Long story short, this company, should I give details?
No, you definitely should not.
Okay, maybe I should.
Because people might piece it together who it is, but I think what you can say is that babysitting is a whole other can of worms. It
is a whole other can of worms, but if you meet the right people, it does end up being nice. And you had kind of the same experience.
Yeah, I did too with babysitting. I think like for me, because what ended up happening is that English teaching turned into English tutoring.
Right.
English tutoring turned into people recommending me to take care of their kids because I was good with kids.
Yeah.
And then that ended up turning into babysitting, which I still kind of do here and there. Not really. I'm kind of like you now where, it's just like one particular family who I really like and I babysit for them. But like, yeah, I don't know. I didn't go into like you being like, okay, I'm looking for a babysitter's job. It just sort of kind of turned out to be that way. Yeah. But I have to say though, one thing I do want to touch on with the English teaching jobs is that when it comes to tutoring, let me tell you that, to me anyways, was like so much more fun.
It looks like it.
Yeah, and that's something that I want you to try, because
I want to try.
I feel like you would love it so much more. Like there's so much more control, because when you work for like a school and you're doing English teaching for them, they have all these rules, right? Like you said, oh, you need to teach the kids STEM, you need to do this, that, and the other thing. You need to teach them phonics in this way, whatever. Like when you're doing it yourself, you can do whatever the heck you want.
It's true.
And the parents, for the most part, are like, as long as my kid is speaking English, I'm happy, right? Yeah. So I remember what I did was, I ended up tutoring, you know, like these two girls in this particular family, and the mom loved me so much, she recommended me to someone else. And these people, all they cared about was like someone shows up at the house and speaks with the kids in English and like helps them practice. So that's what I did. And the fact that I could like adjust the, you know what I mean, like the activities and the homework that I was giving them or whatever, like to their specific needs, was to me the best part too. Because in English school, they don't do that. Like in those Eikawa schools for kids, they're just like, all the kids, you're just gonna all do the same games. You're all gonna figure out the same whatever activities. Like we're all gonna figure this out on like together, whatever. Whereas when you're doing tutoring, you can be very specific to that child's needs. If you know that they are a bit shy when it comes to speaking, you can do fun games to get them more excited about speaking. Or if you know that they struggle with grammar, you can do more activities to focus on like grammar and stuff, you know?
Yeah.
And it got to the point where I remember I was tutoring, I think in total, like 5 kids in a week.
Dang.
Yeah.
But you were making bank.
I was, because they were all paying me cash. They were all paying me on the spot. It wasn't
on the spot?
Oh, yeah, on the spot.
Wow.
It was none of that, nice. Wait a month till they pay you on the 30th of the month, blah, blah, blah. No. It was like on the spot. So like in a week, I would see like the 2 kids together, another kid together, another 2 kids together. I was doing like that. It was like 2 kids who were siblings, 1 Japanese person, and then 2 kids who were also siblings. And so I would see them in intervals. It was like 3 days out of the week.
Japanese person, you mean like a Japanese?
Oh, no, she was a kid. Okay. She was like a little, I said person, and I realized that was the right word. That was the wrong word.
Pretty sure I met her too. So
you did. Yeah, you did. Yeah. That's true. You did. Yeah.
She was so sweet.
Yeah, she was.
How old was she? Like
10? I think 12 or 13. I guess she was a person,
Okay.
A teenage person.
Preteen.
Yeah, preteen.
Yeah.
Anyways, but yeah, so like what's it called? I loved that though. That was better to me than English teaching any day, because the one-on-one interaction and the relationship you build with them and the trust and being able to have these conversations with them, get to know them personally. Like that's the one thing that I didn't get from English teaching. And because I remember, I think at this point too, I was also doing English teaching still, but like kind of on the side more. I was taking a lot of the techniques from English teaching and using it.
You learn things for sure.
Exactly.
For sure. Yeah, 100%.
Yep. I loved it. I just loved it so much. And like, if I had to redo any kind of English teaching job, I would go back to tutoring for sure. Because that was just the most fun.
I want to try it. I was thinking of doing, what's it called? What is it called? Italki.
Oh, where you tutor people, right?
Like online though.
Yeah.
But I was just like,
online's awkward.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
I did have a tutor for Japanese on Italki, and she was great. I loved her. She was super, super sweet. She lived in Osaka, and of course, the Osaka people, they move different.
They do though. They
really do.
They're a lot
so
friendlier.
Sweet. Yeah. And so I was just like, I feel like I could do it. And I think we also have a friend who did italki on and off.
Oh, maybe. Yeah. You could hit them up and ask them, I guess.
So I don't know. I don't know. I personally feel like it's going to be a little weird given my online experiences.
Maybe like with time. What online experiences?
Girl, we were already talking about this before, how like, just like, I just don't like being approached. I don't know. I just be making up stories in my head about like just creepy men, just like you know what I mean, being weird.
But I feel like on italki,
no, because you can pick your teacher.
Right. But can you accept or like decline a student?
I don't know. I don't want to get into that. So that's why I think honestly that's probably a sign that I should stay with kids, because kids are easier, they're fun.
They are.
And can we also talk about how like being a Black person and a teacher is just an experience for the kids.
The kids are just like, wow, a whole new world.
Exactly. Like I've had like, I mean, not to mention even in babysitting, like I remember this is one time like their parents are kind of wealthy. They got them like pretty much everything Disney, and they had like these like cards, like Disney like cards, like just regular cards that you play with.
Yeah.
And one of them was like, I think one of the girls from Moana on it, like the I don't know what the main character's name is, but then he literally brought it to me. He's like Neema-san, mite, it's you. I'm like, she's not Black, but okay.
He's like tan skin. That's the same.
That's the same. And now I've had other times where like the kids would come touch my hair and they're like, wow, so cool.
Oh yeah.
Or they're like, I'm trying to write my name in your hair. I'm like, how does that even work? Like they're taking the strands and like making Y's and U's and I's, and I'm like,
bruh.
Okay.
Oh my god.
But it's just so cute. It's so sweet.
Yeah, I love it because it's innocent.
Yeah.
It's like genuine curiosity. It's like what Japanese adults want to ask and like talk to you about, but like they don't know how to.
Yeah.
But the kids are so blunt because they're just like, I just don't know anything. I just want to know.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay. But I know when I was teaching the kids, I mean, there was of course like the classic odd here and there, like, Sena Sensei, are you made of chocolate? Why is your skin brown? I don't get it. It's weird. And that's like a classic that apparently a lot of Black people who teach English have heard. I'm just like, where does that come from for the kids? Like,
I think it's just the association of just like chocolate is brown. Yeah. I know chocolate.
Exactly. I'm like, wow, this is something nice.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're calling me that like I look like doo doo, then maybe I wouldn't be
true.
So happy.
That is
luckily I didn't have that experience.
You never did.
No.
Yeah.
It was mostly the chocolate thing.
Yeah.
It's or they'd be like, oh, Sena Sensei, like you spend too much time in the sun. Like what? Yeah. They'd be like,
no way.
Yeah. They'd be like, oh, Sena Sensei, you're too tan. What happened? They'd be like, what are you talking about? I'm like, no, I'm born this way. The sun did not touch me in the womb, but I just was born this way.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, okay, I still don't really get it, but okay, Sensei.
Yeah.
They're like, all right. I love that, though.
It's so cute. Yeah. And I think it's nice to see them go from like this really like, oh my gosh, like, what are you, to like, oh, you're so fun, and like hugs and things like that, and just like, okay, see you later.
Yeah, you go from being this thing that they don't really understand to like, just be you're like, just a person.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's super cool.
And I think that's the best part of it, is like getting them to understand that like people who look different from you are still the same for me, you know. And also I think what I loved the most out of English teaching was when you would speak to the kids in English and they understood what you were saying, but they would respond in Japanese. I loved that, because I think that also helped like bridge this gap between like, we're speaking different languages, but like we're still saying the same things, and you understand, like, whether you realize it or not, you're understanding what I'm saying. And that's like, as a result of them coming back to the English classes and taking the time. But it's also like a skill that they're developing that they don't realize,
like this ability to be bilingual, which they never had before.
Exactly. And this ability to also analyze things. It's like, if I tell them a sentence like, okay, are you going to the toilet, and all they know is the word toilet, they can piece together, she's asking me, am I going? And they can be like, yeah, sensei, ikanai desu, toka. Even if they answer in Japanese, it's like, they still know, like, oh, like, I understand what the teacher's trying to 100%. Say. And that skill is something that a lot of people don't have. And that's why when they become adults and then they're like, oh no, eigo wakarimasen, like, I just don't know any English. It's because that skill just never got built, and they can't, like, you know, analyze and piece together the things that they do know with the things that they don't know, and make assumptions that are like, you know, educated guesses or whatever, you know.
And when I think about even just like, this is becoming all pretty much about English teaching the most, but I really do enjoy the fact that, like, you know, as a kid, I remember like the adults that had an impact on me, and like just being small and being like, wow, you see me, and like, you're so cool and you inspire me, I want to be like you. And like, I think having the ability to have that kind of impact on the kids, not saying that I do, but you know, just being in that position where it's like, whoa, like, you're so different,
and you're influential.
Exactly. Those whether things they realize it or not, really do matter.
They do, you know? They do. Yeah,
it really does. And like,
especially if you're the only Black person they meet in their whole life, which is likely. Like, you want them to have a good impression of what Black people are like. Like, they're not like the scary people in movies, they're not like the creepy men, they're not like the, you know, the wild ladies or whatever, like, they're just normal people, like, and if they can look back in their childhood and be like, oh yeah, I met somebody when I was a kid who was Black and they were great, I loved that sensei, like, that, whether they realize it or not, that's like a core memory that they're always gonna, like,
it is,
you know, think back
that
on
other regular kids that were not put into, like, you know, English school immersion, that they don't get that experience.
Exactly. They're still going to keep thinking sad. Black people are made of chocolate.
Exactly.
And they're a little too tan.
And like jump when they see a Black person in the front. And you're like, on,
classic
really?
one. That's happened to me so many times.
It happens a lot of times.
Yeah, they'll
like,
just,
people don't know.
like, I'm just walking, minding my business, and like clutch their pearls, and I'm like, what is going on? I'm like, I'm just going to the bathroom.
It's kind of embarrassing, frankly.
Like, what is going on here?
It's kind of embarrassing.
I get surprised when I see them. Like, they get shocked, and I'm like, oh, why? What's going on?
Right,
and then I realize, oh, it's me.
It's me.
Oh,
I'm the one.
Oh, okay, that's embarrassing.
It's really
it is embarrassing. I'm just like, what is going on?
All right, cool.
Yeah. Anyway,
but no, honestly, kudos to all of the teachers who be teaching English full time. The people who are foreigners and come here and teach English full time. Because I remember, like, I heard this other story, you know, at this event that I met this other person, and they were saying, like, you know, they're Black, and they were like, oh yeah, like, I put my hair up in a puff, and like, I went to school, and like, the kids were like, they were middle schoolers, the kids were like mocking her, laughing at her. They're like, your hair is trash.
Oh yeah, that's a classic. Like, I've heard that.
I mean, on top of being in a foreign country,
I know, and because we change our hair so much, I think the kids don't get that.
Yeah,
and so they're just like I remember that happened to me too, where like I had short hair when I was teaching English, but I remember one day,
are you a boy?
Oh yeah, that one was a classic. They're like, Sensei, I don't understand. Where's your hair? Like, Sensei, you're a girl, right?
Yeah.
So where's your hair? And I was like, no, just cut it. I just like it short. And to them it was just like, but why? Like, I remember there's a little girl who used to tell me, she's like, Sensei, なんか髪の毛短すぎます. She's like, your hair's she was like, your hair's too short. She's like, you can cut it, but just a little bit, not too much. She's like, it's too short. I was like, girl, who told you that?
It's so cute to see.
It is, and and they don't realize it's like so deeply ingrained in them.
It
and
is.
Of course, like I know it's not because like, you know, their parents sat them down to say girls should only have, but like I think they internalize it. Like boys have this haircut, girls have this haircut. Yeah. So guys are meant to have short hair, and girls are meant to have long hair. You know. Yeah. And then when you kind of tell them like, no, girls can have short hair too, like this short, and it's okay. They'd be like, oh, okay, interesting. Never thought of it that way. You know.
It is.
And you don't realize that you really are like breaking these stereotypes that they have in their mind of what a person is supposed to look like. You know.
Yeah. And I do think that like Eikawa schools as a whole, like it being already a different environment, they are breaking that like I guess the mental conditioning that a lot of these kids get as a result of being in a homogenous society with one way of thinking, with a specific way of doing things. And they see you, and then English, and then different ways of doing things. Yeah. And they're getting the Kaigai no experience. It's like,
I think parents who put their kids in Eikawa
smart ones.
Smart cookies.
Smart ones.
They know what they're doing. And that's why I don't even care if parents like are just like, whatever, I just want to get rid of my child for an hour and a half. Like,
do it.
Put them in there, because like that gives them this broad understanding that the world isn't just this tiny little Japan, like island called Japan. It's like the world is so much broader. And if they only get a taste of that when they go to English, like, you know, Eikaiwa school or whatever, like, good for them. Let them have that 1 hour and a half where they get to experience the world that isn't just like, you know, irashaimase and, you know, konnichiwas and Japanese people here, there, and the other place. Exactly. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, that to me, I'm just like, you're giving your child the best experience they could ever get. And the sad part is a lot of the people who do go are mostly like half Japanese, or like people
that is the main demographic most of the time.
Or like the Japanese people who have like a parent who's been abroad.
Yeah.
But there's a few who like the parents have never been abroad before.
True.
They just want their kids to learn English, and I don't think they realize they're giving their kids like way more than just learning English. They're giving them this like cultural experience that they may never have if they never set foot outside of Japan, you know?
Yeah, it's so true.
I always commend those parents. I'm just like, I know you guys probably don't even care about this, and you're just dropping your kid off for an hour and a half so you can go like buy your little groceries or whatever, but like you're really helping your child.
It really does
become like a developed human being.
Yeah. No, it's amazing. Know? What other jobs do you think like people, because we kind of did the same type of jobs.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, you had your like your leforette like times.
Oh right, when I worked
when you worked at the store in Harajuku.
Yeah.
But like, what other jobs do people do? I know like easy, like for instance, like for someone who's like recently arrived in Japan, what would we recommend? I feel like kombini job.
No, kombini is the one job I remember. I was like, I need to stay away. A lot of people went for it, but I think for me, the reason why I don't recommend kombini jobs to people when they first arrive is because kombini is the pillar of Japanese society. This is the thing people don't know. Like, if konbinis shut down in Japan, this country would not run.
True.
Like, it would just...
That is true. That is
would not run. And it's because konbini is more than just convenience store. It's not just, hey, here's your bag of chips and your cigarettes. It's like...
Pay your bills.
Yeah, pay your bills. You can, like...
Print things.
Yeah, you can print things. You can, like, make mail orders. True. You can, like, you know, ship things. You can do all kinds of stuff. And, of course, like, they also, like, fry food in the background. Like, they're... You know what I mean? They're, like, a chef, a mailman, you know...
A restaurant.
A bill person, a restaurant.
The shiakusho.
Yeah, exactly. The city hall. All of the above, like, in one place. And so if you just arrived in Japan and you don't even know those things, or like you haven't really gotten a good grasp on like Japanese society in general, that's gonna drive you crazy. Like, you're gonna have so many things to have to learn all at once. And that's why I think it's a good job for like Japanese teenagers, because they've lived here their whole lives. They know these little things, but like, if you just arrived and you just like kombini job, like, whoa,
it's a bit much.
Yeah.
Although I mean, it's not to say it's impossible. It's just a lot, because I have heard of someone like my friend's like boyfriend who's like Japanese, works at a kombini, and he had like an experience where the okiakusan just like treated him like trash.
Yeah.
And he had to like stand his ground, obviously, like, because like this person was like throwing a fit for no reason.
Right.
And like, I feel like if you're a foreigner and like you get that, you'll probably be traumatized. But like, he was able to be like, you're the one acting up. Like, you can leave the store.
That's what I mean. If you're a foreigner who just got here, you don't even know how to speak Japanese, let alone defend yourself. Like, what are you gonna do?
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean? So
it can be a little bit scarring.
Yeah, definitely kombini is a no-no.
So what would we recommend?
I think I would recommend, obviously English teaching is a given.
Yeah.
But I would recommend like any job where you just feel like comfortable, because that's why, like I say, with tutoring, like if you're not let's say an English native speaker, but like you're a French native speaker,
true,
you can do tutoring. You can teach people how to do French, or you can do also, like, you know, there's like sometimes those conversation clubs, or like language exchange or whatever. Like, you can do those. I just recommend anything with language, because at least it'll let you be in an environment where you feel comfortable.
Confident.
Yeah, and you can teach someone else something that you already know and make a bit of money doing that. And of course, it's like sought out. Like, regardless of what language it is or whatever, there's going to be someone out there who's trying to like learn that. So I think that's perfect. And I think like, I'm trying to think, any job that would be like very like low maintenance, in the sense that like you don't have to like put a lot of like preparation into learning a very specific skill. You can just kind of show up and do it. That's always my recommendation. Yeah. Because like, I mean, one job that I did when I first got here is I worked at a hotel, which, you know, I guess you could say hotel is kind of low maintenance. Like, we didn't need to learn any crazy new skills to work there. It's just like, you know, waiting tables. Well, we didn't really wait tables. We just like passed drinks around to like people or whatever.
Right.
Because we worked at like the banquet hall. So,
oh yeah, true. You had that whole hotel job situation.
Yeah, that was a pretty good job for like beginner. Like if you want like a Japanese environment, like if you're not really feeling languages, I think that's a good one because it's like you don't need to learn any crazy skills. Like at most you'll be like vacuuming the floor and like folding tablecloths. It is labor
intensive. I mean, don't get it. Like guys, the truth is that Japan, we love Japan. They do leave a lot of the labor intensive jobs to foreigners.
Yeah.
On purpose.
It's true. No, it is. It is on purpose for sure. I mean, there are Japanese people who do them too.
Yes,
but it's just like I think it's one of those things where
I think it's just easy if you're in that kind of environment. It's easy for you to get taken advantage of and overworked.
That's why I quit because I was just like, this is too much for me, and like I just feel like they see me like another foreigner who's just doing this labor intensive job, and they didn't really give a crap about me. And I was like, okay, well, to them, if I'm just a dime a dozen, then I'm a bounce. Yeah, like find someone else to replace me. You know.
I'm trying to think. My other friends, like from like Nihongo Gakko, like a lot of them found like just use the apps. Like I would recommend start with Craigslist, but then move on to like the other apps. I think there's an app called like My Number.
No, My Nabi.
My Nabi.
My Number. My Number is the card.
My Number.
You have to have this card called My Number where they like track your like income.
Your income.
Yeah. But anyways, that's a whole other thing. But no, My Nabi is a great one. Yes, that's a good place. That's where I got that hotel job.
Oh, did you?
Yeah,
okay, I'm gonna use it.
Yeah.
But because I'm your girl's looking for a new job.
Yeah.
But
you can tell.
Like thank you. There's a classmate of mine who worked like in construction, and like he's like like, but it's like, you know, just like I guess basic communication, just like sending an email like ryokai itashimashita for like where he needs to go, but he goes to like different locations.
And he does construction.
He doesn't
need like a license or anything for that?
Nope.
What?
They just need like men who can lift things. Yes, that is still a thing in Japan.
Then, yes, if you're a man who can lift things,
gender roles and other sexes.
So now if you're a woman who can lift things,
you could lift things too. But you know, that's the way Japan is. Anyway, another friend that does like bartending.
Oh yeah, I've heard bartending is a good one. But like, I'm assuming if you only speak English, like you just arrived in Japan, you don't really know how to speak Japanese. That's probably not a great one. Probably not. Unless you do like a foreign. Is there foreigner bars?
No,
or like,
I don't think so.
Or like a club
like foreigner heavy bars.
Yeah, but also with the nightlife stuff, y'all got to be careful with the nightlife stuff because the nightlife stuff is very like taboo for foreigners. Like I think bartender is fine, but I think anything more than bartender, you're crossing the line.
Yeah,
because anything that's like nightlife job, you could get deported for. And I'm talking I'm not talking about like just working at a bar or a club. I'm talking about, you know,
actually I didn't even know that.
Nightlife, if you know what I'm talking about.
oh that kind of nightlife.
Yeah, that, don't get into that. I promise you it'll be a ticket straight back to your home country because yeah.
I mean, we could say it. We don't have to like
what?
You like nightlife. We can say what it is, so the people can know. Because
I'm talking about like hostess jobs or even escort jobs. Like there's tons of them where they're like, it's okay, like as a foreigner you can do this.
No, don't do that. Don't risk it.
It's not like those people will just tell you whatever you need to hear to like do those things. And I know people who think like it'll be easy money, it'll be great. I'm like, oh sis, do you want to be sent to the first, like also, literally
I don't know, personally I feel like it's not that safe as a foreigner.
No, it isn't. Because I also, if you don't even speak Japanese, you don't even know what's going on.
Yeah,
like,
don't.
Do you know what I mean?
Don't do that.
So unless you want to make your life really difficult,
at least don't recommend. We don't recommend it. No. You know. What
else?
What
are some good ones?
Kaldi store. I've heard that one.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's just
for
stacking
foreigners?
Shelves.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and it's like foreign foods, whatever. So if you're a foreigner, you can be like, I've tasted this and it's good. Exactly. And they'll be like, great, a foreigner recommended it.
Exactly. But again, would still recommend at least like N4. Like don't be afraid of doing absolutely nothing, but like at the same time.
Yeah. And also like for your first couple of months, plan to not have a job. I know people who are like, I'm gonna land, I'm gonna find a job in 2 weeks. I'm like, sweetie, this is a new country. Yeah. You won't even know how to take the train, let alone find a job.
True.
Do you know what I mean?
Because you don't want to be sent to XYZ left right place, and you're like, how, where,
exactly. I'm like, I've been living here for 6 years, and every now and again when I get sent off to like these random places for auditions, I don't even know where I am. I get lost and stuff. So I'm like, let alone like you just arrived to Japan and you're just like,
take your sweet time.
Yeah, take your time.
Maybe if you can, rack up a little savings.
Yes,
for that. Because I did that and that really helped.
Yes.
And I was like, okay, I think I'm mentally ready for this.
Yes.
And then
bring some cushion money to let you live comfortably for at least the first month.
Yeah.
You don't want to be like running helter-skelter around town trying to find a job and also adjusting to a brand new life in a new country. That's just like a lot.
Make your bank account, get yourself signed up at your local, city hall.
Yeah.
Figure out your neighborhood, go a little left and right, take a few
couple
trains. Yeah, get your My Number card. Then use My Nabi.
Exactly. Then get on on those websites.
That's pretty much that. Do you have anything else?
No.
Yeah.
Are you gonna make it on time?
I was supposed to be gone about 5 minutes ago.
Let's
the things we do for you guys.
So
just kidding. No, I don't.
It's okay. This is fun. You'll be fine. This is fun.
Yeah.
But to wrap it up.
What
can we say? Oh, if you guys have ever done a part-time job in Japan, let us know what you've done in the comments down below. What was your first part-time job or your favorite part-time job in Japan?
For YouTube comments, but what about Spotify?
For Spotify,
let's make it for the people who are not living in Japan. How
yes.
about that?
Well, first of all, if you guys are listening and you're not watching, please rate us 5 stars. That's something I always forget to say.
Yeah.
Because if you rate us and you give us good ratings, then we can know that you love us and we'll keep making some
Thanks,
more.
Guys.
But for the question for Spotify, what should we ask? I think we should ask, do you enjoy your part-time job?
Ooh.
I want to know if y'all...
Or full-time job if you're doing a full-time job.
Yeah, or full-time job. We can ask both. Because I'm curious to know. Because I feel like everybody in Japan is either getting paid very little money and loves their job.
We didn't even touch on this.
Yeah. Gosh. Or they're getting paid tons of money and they hate themselves.
Yeah.
Because their job is just pulling their hairs out one by one. So,
Terrible.
Yeah, let us know. Do you guys love your job? Do you hate your job? Let us know in the comments below and also on Spotify.
All right, guys. It's been a good time.
Yep. Thank you for listening. You guys are the bestest. We will see you guys
later.
Bye.
Bye.